Welcome back, everybody, to Two Guys, Three Crowns, the podcast about what it's really like to live in Stockholm, Sweden. Join me, Sean, and my fellow American Rodney as we explore the good, the bad, and the just plain weird.
Under the sea, under the sea. I don't know any more words. that's my crayfish song. That's the closest thing I could come to a crayfish song.
Let's do another behind the scenes. We've already recorded 10 minutes of this podcast before anyone is hearing this right now.
Right.
Because we are geniuses, and 150, 60 episodes in, we may have forgotten to hit record, but it's okay.
It's only 158, actually. It's,
but Rodney at least did the same under the sea. I don't know any more words. And for everyone in podcast land, he's pinching with his fingers to make
doing my
crab
clippy
action.
cloppies. Yes, my clippy clop.
Because it is crayfish, crawfish, crawdad, langoustine, not lobster, but not crab season.
No. August. Crayfish season in Sweden.
So if you hear people yelling outside and it sounds like a Viking drinking song, it's either a Viking drinking song, a kid's birthday, or a crawfish party.
Could be. Or it could be Puss Nude, like asking for directions. Where am I going?
You're going into the drink. Get him out of here. Get out. Just drive into the water. You don't know where you're going.
Yes, sirree, Bob. So a little bit about what we talked about that we are talking about that we're going to talk about now was actually a little bit of the differences of crayfish, where crayfish come from, the difference of in size. And now I feel like I'm like going in fast forward, and where crayfish or where now Swedish crayfish do exist, not in as great abundance as they have in the past.
Really?
But I believe that they started importing, and I believe that I think China and I think maybe Vietnam and some of these other areas are where they.
We've always we see them in the winter, and it's like I don't know. They call it Louisiana crayfish, but normally we buy like on the shoulder season kind of thing, like July, June. You know, we want to get ready for it. You know, it's summer and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
And maybe like one more box in September, right?
Right.
And like the frozen box and all that stuff. And normally they say when I buy them at least, it's a Louisiana crayfish, but they can be all spiny, like a spiny Caribbean lobster kind of thing. So
Right.
sometimes the shells are rock solid, and you have to go in with like the crackers and all that stuff because you try and pop those things with your hand or your like teeth and all that stuff, and you're getting holes in soft tissue. Let me tell you.
Yes. Black and Decker.
Then we got the Swedish ones yesterday, and they were like super smooth. I mean, half of them were females.
Okay.
So like the tails were a little different, and they all had roe inside of them, and I'm like,
okay,
is this legal? Should we be eating these ones? Shouldn't they be in the water still? But But they for those ones, the claws were the prime meat, and for the Louisiana ones, the tails tend to be the prime meat. So
okay. Well, I mean, and the big difference in the preparation of those things, because I know that Adrian, we send each other clips every once in a while. Adrian has this, like the back home crayfish parties with the crayfish boil with the huge.
See, I'm curious about this because they come in liquid. So I'm like, you just dethaw them because they're all already cooked. All of them are cooked already.
Well, the ones that we're talking about are like fresh. I mean, fresh crayfish.
The bayou now.
Yeah, so I mean the boiling and and you throw in the crayfish.
See,
and
that's what I'm used to with like
the corn on the cob
Baltimore
and the red
blue crabs.
Right. Yeah.
Like you put the water in the saucepan, and then you put the steamer on top, and then they all get stacked in. They're all on ice, and by the time they're waking up, they're getting their last drink of beer and a dash of Old Bay before they go to the great steamer in the sky, which is my mouth.
Yes. But that's kind of on our to-do list, because the Swedish crayfish is It's with dill and salt, and it's very good, very flavorful. But when you see the videos on YouTube for the Old Bay and the potatoes and the corn,
like Louisiana style, where they dump it all on the table, and there's like andouille sausage in there and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
That looks amazing.
Yeah. Bam.
Yeah, I was that age in the 90s. You want a little emerald, like, you need a little spice in there. Bam.
Yeah, bam.
And then the crowd goes wild.
Mm-hmm.
The kids out there that don't know, look it up on YouTube. Bam. And then the crowd goes wild.
Yeah, okay. We got them there. Hey, so we had a guest last episode. We had Kimberly.
Yes, we did.
That showed up, and it was great to have her. It was a lot of fun to do the episode. We had gotten in actually a few comments via the YouTube thing. A couple of suggestions.
The
YouTube thingy. And recommendations of how we can do things better, and that list is kind of growing. But we did get.
We're doing it worse. Spoiler alert: we're going to do it worse. We're going to take your opinions and do the opposite.
No, I mean, hey, we're a work in progress. We're only 158 episodes in. But one of the things that, or one of the posts that we got on the last episode was somebody asked us if we could explain if Swedish people are shy or supposedly shy, introverted, reserved, and quiet, but Swedish people also have Midsummer and this general fika. How do we explain that? How do we explain the big
answer
difference
is yes.
Yes, and yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the way I have experienced it is that Sweden, up until fairly recently, has been a pretty closed off society until like the 80s. They started opening up when they started like doing the renovations of Gamla Stan in the 90s, and like these international companies like Ericsson started having to bring in foreign talent and stuff like that. But before that, it was pretty like, if you're in Sweden, you're Swedish. And so this like international like vibe, especially in Stockholm, is like fairly recent in the grand scheme of history. So they have their culture. They're kind of like, as you would be like it kind of, if you go into like a more smaller-ish town and like people just kind of do their thing and they do their thing. So in my experience, it's been like the Swedes have their friends that they went to middle school with and high school, and they went to university, and they kind of have their friends group. And here we come in, Americans bounding in, hey guys, you want to be my friend? And they're like, what is the matter with this guy over here?
Yeah.
So then it's just like, it's hard for Americans, like our crazy ass style, to kind of break through that kind of thing. So they are like, if you can penetrate the shell, like over time, then you can kind of see, like, especially if you get them out of country and you get them on holiday, they can be wild and crazy in the midsummer things. And like, there's like tons of people going on and like lots of parties and stuff like that. But yeah, like any Nordic country or Scandinavian country, I would say, kind of has the same thing. Anywhere that's north of like that invisible line, that where you go, okay, it was winter below, but now it's like real winter. Like anywhere across that line, I would say across any culture is going to have that kind of difference. I don't know about you.
And I think that Midsummer is kind of its it's huge. I mean, Midsummer is like that thing, the holiday that everybody's been waiting for during the entire, dark winter season. So it almost feels like
normally it's dark and rainy. So
right. So go figure. Fika is also. You mentioned like, what's up with fika if people aren't social or if they're not into it. But I mean, it is kind of a unique
it's kind of one of those things like when fika happens, there's something in the DNA that reacts with the bloodstream, and then there's some kind of hormones in the brain that they must go to the same place and talk to each other. I don't know. I don't exactly know how the neurochemistry works, but it's something.
It's something. It's something in there. But it is, I mean, the topic comes up a lot, especially with people that do comparisons between the United States and Sweden. And you hear a lot of, expats that come to Sweden or experience Sweden and think that, wow, it's really hard to make friends. And I don't know, the big global lists of countries and, the places that it's the hardest to make friends. But I know that along with being one of the best places to live, it is one of the hardest places to go ahead and... Man,
I have a story about what happened this past week. I felt so bad because Dylan's been off from school, so we've been kind of I've been working from home, as you can do now in the post-COVID world. And Renata's been doing like an extra month that she had left over of maternity.
Yeah.
For all those at home, maternity leave is a lot over here.
Yes.
We kind of went to Sthlm Beach, and I was like answering emails and coming up with ideas and stuff on the kind of working on the beach. And then we came back. On the way back home, we stopped at this poke place, one of the poke bowl locations that are scattered around Stockholm. And we go in. I'm out there with Dylan, and we're potty training Dylan right now, so we have to have the little portable potty every time he needs to pee or do something else, And she goes in, she orders, and then someone comes out, obviously Swedish, and I'm like, oh, sorry, do you speak English? And I could tell that Dylan was like looking at her and doing this weird kind of stuff, like looking and hiding and hiding the whole time, this kind of game. And I'm like, oh yeah, we live down the street. She's like, really? Because I live right here, and I've never seen you guys. And like, we've been in this place like maybe once or twice before.
Right.
And then she strikes up a conversation, and I'm already on my back foot. Like, what is going on? Like, is there someone behind me trying to steal my stuff? Like, what is going on right now? And I come to find out later that I'm pretty sure she's one of the owners of one of these, like the poke locations.
Okay.
She just lives around the corner. And I'm like, I feel like a total jerk now of being like so standoffish, just like the Siths say, let the hate flow, let the American flow.
Right.
Let the conversation happen. You know what I mean? But it was like so out of the ordinary that I was just like, oh yeah. And then even when Renata came back out with like, after she went into order and this woman's talking to us, she was like, oh, what? Why are you talking to them? Who are you?
Yeah.
It's so not out of the it's so out of the ordinary, but yeah, it's crazy.
You kind of like forget how to small talk.
Exactly.
You're so used to like it's like being at a practice for small talk.
Well, it's like when you go back home to the U.S. for holiday, and my mom lives in Virginia, in like the rural part of Virginia. So you go up to the gas station, you fill the tank, people come over and they start talking to you. I'm like, bleepity bleepity bleep. I will spray you down with gasoline and throw a match at you if you don't back up. Let me tell you something.
Yeah. My space. You're not respecting my space.
I'm like, who are you?
Right. Yeah, but I mean, we had our challenges over the years of trying to connect, socialize, build up a friends network. It's not as if we haven't tried, but it's not as easy as it is back home because I don't know. I guess we're kind of interested in meeting people and expanding our.
Well, at least you have the cheat codes. You're married to a Swede, so you have that kind of.
Actually, I am Swedish now.
Yes, you are Swedish now.
Right. And that's why getting questions, sometimes now I don't really know how to answer because I can't really, now I'm kind of sitting 50-50 on both sides.
So there's Moana on one shoulder and Björn Borg on the other shoulder.
On the other shoulder, yes. Battling it out. How
far I'll go.
But I mean, I basically grew up in a Swedish household, even though I was back in, in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Sure.
Since my mother's Swedish, so I was raised, but I still went through some culture shock when we moved.
Oh yeah.
And we kind of want to bring the American stuff with us, but respecting the fact that it's a different culture, different norms, different rules.
For sure.
We're here.
Well, speaking of keeping the American customs and norms, this guy, for everyone at home, we had this rainy days the other day.
Oh,
and
it was rainy.
If you're a regular listener of this show, you know that Rodney and his grilling is a sacred thing.
Yes.
And this other day, where I'm living, it's on and off. But when it was raining, it was like, it wasn't Miami levels, but it was close to cats and dogs.
Yeah.
Cats, dogs, living together, the whole system breaking apart.
Right.
And I start getting these text messages from Rodney, a.k.a. Captain Ahab, out here on his balcony, like, that's all you got? That's all you got? Just a little rain? And then, like, lightning strikes. And he's like, bring it on, Thor. Dun, 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 dun. And he's like, I got teriyaki chicken thighs on the grill. Let me tell you something.
No, but it was, and I had promised, because I had asked Adrian. Adrian came home for dinner, and I was like, we have a special request for birthday dinner, so it was like the day before we had actually decided, and nailed that. So I was up in the morning, getting all the chicken thighs and the marinade together, putting it into the fridge and going, this is going to be great. And then I turn around and I look outside, and it was something wicked this way comes. It was just like the clouds started coming and the rain.
But see, I know the switch that goes off in your brain, and that little part of your brain goes, you think this is going to stop me? You think you know me? This is Sparta!
This is Ninus! No, yeah. Hey, but I can guarantee you one thing. I was the only person outside barbecuing.
Of course.
Yeah. So I took my little JBL speaker out back. I had my music going on, and I had the chicken and the rain and everything. But I was the only one out there, so I had a blast. Chicken turned out perfect.
I hope at one point the song came on. I'm tired and I want to go home. I'm drunk and I want to go to bed.
No, but that was definitely put it to the test there. But pulled it off again. Now, what kind of plans do you have? What kind of stuff do you have coming up? Because we're slowly moving out of June, July. We're into August. I mean, we're starting to head down.
I know it's coming to a close, my man.
That road.
Yeah. So the little man Dylan goes back to school finally this week. We've had the in-laws here for most of the time. Okay. But then this past week, Dylan's been just he and us. So it's like all the time. I'm trying to work in the bedroom, and he's like busting through the door, giving me puppets. He's like, Dad, you this one, you this one, you this one. I'm like, I just played Hulk with you. I just played Captain America with you. I'm working now, but yeah. So finally, it's like, it's that part of the song of it's the most wonderful time. And like when like the parents are finally looking for the kids to go back to school, I'm like, yes, I relate to that so much right now.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But we're also going to try to, at the very end of the month, go to Croatia.
Okay.
Because we were supposed to go to Croatia, but then SAS decided, well, in the middle of this summer of travel, absolute chaos, let's go on strike.
Right.
And so we lost our vacation, but now we're trying to get it back and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to, like, the end of August, get back to Croatia, the same Airbnb like hold on to the same Airbnb, and the people there are amazing. So hopefully we can make it work, make it happen. Okay. But yeah, trying to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, well, I mean, people are starting to show up. Last week, there were like a surprisingly large number of people on the trains, especially on the train home. It's like people trying to get out of Dodge. But it was, you could definitely
feel... the train
feel...
home doesn't count because that's where everyone goes to leave, so you never know.
You never know, right?
Well, you a local? You got a suitcase. Oh, I see a suitcase above you. No.
Everybody has nice suntans, slightly irritated, that they're back at work, but, still doing good.
Exactly. Yeah. What do you got going on? Any kind of last minute getaway?
Well, what we're trying to do is, did I bring up our Stockholm 5 thing that we're...
Stockholm 5? I don't know if you did.
Stockholm 5.
It sounds like very Kung Fu Panda.
Almost.
Kind of.
No, but Lena last year saw this thing called Stockholm 5, which is basically their walks. There's 5 walks, different routes, everything from 9 kilometers
walks,
to...
like walking, not
like walking.
Walk,
yes.
like stir fry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Rodney doesn't run. There's... no. There's always another bus. Hey, yeah, there is always another bus coming. But we have, so we signed up for that, and we have done 2 of the walks so far. The first one we did was around Brunnsvik, and it's out by Haga Park.
Yep.
And
lovely,
that one,
lovely.
But the funny thing was, when I asked Lena, I was like, okay, so which one? Should we start off easy? And she was like, no, we're doing this one. And it was 12 kilometers, and 12 kilometers.
Now I can see how you got signed up to drive to the middle of nowhere, Sweden, next to Norway, and hike across this marshy area where you had to walk across planks of wood. I see the inspiration now.
Yeah. But no, so, we signed up and we knocked that out. The thing is, you're supposed to try and do it within 30 days. Well, actually, you can do it in 30 days, you can do it in a week, and you can do it in 1 day.
Who's doing it the same day? Oh, wait, no, you mean to do the track?
To do all 5. Because all 5 of the routes, the first one that we did was 12 kilometers. The second one we did was Kungsholmen. And that took like an hour and...
To do it in a day, you basically have to run everything in
Well, I think that's what it is.
Good marathon speed.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that 12 kilometer one that we did the first day, that thing was, and we were looking, and it was beautiful.
I already know. The second he gets home, he's doing the slow motion, lean back onto that couch and letting out that old man groan that I'm starting to develop myself, where you're just like, where's the remote? Where's the remote control?
I actually did that getting into the car. I mean, I didn't even wait to get home. I did that in the car. But they're beautiful walks. They're beautiful routes. So we did the first one, and then we did Kungsholmen last week, and now we're going to try, and I think we're going to do Sthlm.
Nice.
I think that there is one. Yeah. So we still, and then we have
you can do
Gordon.
Sthlm pretty easily walking around in a day. That's not bad. It's not too many.
Yeah,
hills.
well, I mean, I can't remember how many. It was like 11 or 10. These different routes. But
I mean, you can do it by bike on the outer perimeter in 2 hours, easy pace. So.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of fun, and we're having a good time. We're having a good time doing it. But so I think we're going to try and knock out another one of those this week. Just not sure which one yet.
Well, not speaking of easy fun.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of problems to air with you people. Rodney knows I've been keeping this one pent up. It's the airing of grievances, as Festivus has taught us.
Right.
I'm trying to sell some things out of my house, like furniture and stuff like that we just need to get rid of. My wife is taking the Facebook approach. She's tapped into the moms network. She's in like the Hammarby Huestad group on Facebook.
Right.
I can't stand to use Facebook anymore. So it's just like, you handle that thing. I'm going to test out this Blocket thing.
Right.
Everyone sells and buys stuff on Blocket all the time. It's like a Swedish thing. People, it is worse than Craigslist out there. Be careful with yourself.
Yeah.
It's worse than Craigslist. Like, I'm trying to sell... The culprit was, I think, a desk, an IKEA desk with, like, it's got the table across, it's got two legs that screw into the desktop, and then on the other side, instead of legs, it's like a series of 5 drawers. So it's fine. You know, it's IKEA, it's cheap, whatever. I'm posting like that and a couple other things on Blocket, and then the first one that comes in, they're talking to me, they're chatting, like blah 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 blah.
Okay.
And then I'm like, yeah, and then they're like, well, like we need to set up the shipping thing, and I'm like, what's a shipping thing? And I have never used Blocket before. I've never used or bought everything.
Right.
Next thing they know, they get me. I'm chatting with them all the time on WhatsApp, and then they're like, oh no, just send me your email and we'll set up we use it all the time. We'll set up the shipping.
Right.
Next thing I know, I'm authorizing a bank ID, and what they're really doing is they're pulling like 1,000 euros out of my bank account.
No.
Each time. And they're like, no, it's not working. It's not working. And I'm like, by the time I figure it out, and I work with this stuff, I've been trained. I've been trained on how to recognize this stuff and how to recognize these scams. That's the worst part. You feel so bad.
Yeah.
Because I should know better. And I just want to get this thing out of my house. That's the problem. You're like desperate to just get it out.
You just want to get it done.
Just get it done. Get it out of my life. And these people, like the first one, are like just scamming like 1,000 euros out of your account, just like that. And then they're like, oh, your card's not working. Do you want to get your wife's card?
Oh no.
And then thank God she just had like, nowhere near my level of theft that they got out of my account. But no, then SEB called me, my bank, and they're like, yeah, we have these weird charges. I'm like, yeah, it's a test. I'm trying to sell something over here to these people. They're like, so it's legitimate. I'm like, yeah, that's what they're saying, is they're trying to test the account so they like blah, 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 blah. Whoa. It's like looking back on it, it's such a classic revamp of the Nigerian scam. I'm such an idiot, but it's like, it's felt so real in the time. They're sending me properly branded, like real HTML emails. The web page was legit. I'm used to seeing like all these things, but then you look back in hindsight and you're like, that's the seam, that's the seam, that's the seam. But in the moment, you have no idea. You're so desperate to get stuff done and like all that. So you lose that debit card. That debit card's gone because they have to cancel it. And then I have this whole fight with SEB of like, yeah, I know I told you that was a legitimate charge, but I didn't think they were doing it 3 times.
Right.
And then once I saw it was 3 times, then everything disappears. Yeah, that was not fun. And then, so we've been trying to sell the same object. We finally got rid of it to someone who would drive to our house and swish me, thank God.
Okay.
But it was like, we put it on Facebook too. And like everyone on Facebook is doing the same thing of like, oh, I want to buy your thing and I want to come pick it up, but I'm too busy with work. So I have this thing with DHL or whatever. And it's the exact same message all the time. And you're just like,
wow.
It's crazy. Wow. It's like literally 30, at least 30 to 1. Like 30 scammy messages to one legitimate. Is like, I don't know about the price. I'm like, are you a real person? Because if you want to negotiate lower, I'll just negotiate lower and get rid of it. Get it out of my life. But it's at least 30 or 50 or like some cases 75 to 1 because we've sold a couple things on some of these platforms. But it's just crazy. They're just sitting there. Yeah. I'm like, how do you people... And there's no one you can talk to and block it.
Yeah.
There's no customer service. There's just like an email system that you can send they say it's chat, but it's just email where you're sending it to them and they'll come back to you whenever. So I'm like
sucks.
just raging in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
To nobody. And then SEB is like, well, it's going to our fraud department and they're going to investigate it. I'm like,
yeah.
Just tell me now if you're going to give me my money or not back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just
Right,
let me live with the consequences, or tell me I'm going to get my money back and just give me another card because I got to buy groceries, you know?
Yeah.
That's just so crazy. It's insanity out there, bro.
Hey, but are they going to be able to help you? I mean, is SEB going to...
It's with the fraud complaints department. So they're like, I gave them a whole write-up in real time, and I took a bunch of screenshots of what I could, because the second I was like, yo, this, like, the second I did, like, started texting back to the people, I was like, yo, what is this? I'm getting charged like 3 times. Then everything, the web page stopped working and disappeared, like a timeout message. Everything was gone. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm an idiot. I'm a total idiot. And this is not the first time, clearly, that you people have done this. Because they knew the second I was like, something smells like bullshit. They're like,
right.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm definitely not going to be doing anything on Blocket for a while.
Facebook marketplace in general here. Like we've done like the groups on Hemmerbequestad, they're okay. They're fine. But if you do like general Sweden, it's 100% scams. On Hanata's phone, they're 100% scams. It's the same message every single time. And I'm like, I want to grab the phone from her and be like, hey, you want it? You come to my apartment right now. I'll give it to you for free if you physically come to my apartment right now. Come to my apartment, stand out there and tell me you're standing out there. I'll greet you with a kitchen knife.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It's the same bullshit. It's like, hey, Ruski, get out of my internet, get out of my Facebook. I'm trying to sell stuff for a good purpose.
Yes. You have to save some of those crawfish claws, because those things.
Hey, the Louisiana ones with the spines, like
exactly,
they can really mess someone up. They messed up my thumbs. I still got holes.
And that'll do it for this week's episode. Thanks to everyone out there for listening in. We see you, we love you, we appreciate you. Be sure to also, when you have a moment, check out our Instagram. It's got a whole bunch of crazy stuff there, like tips around Stockholm, Rodney's recipes sometimes. You never know what you're going to get. And then come back here next time for more 2 Guys, 3 Crowns.